Hey y'all, and welcome back to Leonard Creek Farm. Hey guys, long time no see. I think it's been over a week since I've posted a video here on YouTube. I've taken a much needed break, time to reflect, and time to get things done. So today I have a specific topic in mind, and this topic stems from multiple different clients contacting me here recently and asking a few different questions. So what this particular video is going to be about is covering their particular questions. And Dallas is jumping all over the cage and it's causing the camera to bump around. I'm going to be answering their specific questions they asked surrounding around baby kits, the care of a mother getting ready to have kits, what you need for her to give birth or to have the kits, and just, the materials needed and what to expect. So as you can see, we've got one mama here that has a couple kits in there. And then we have a mama here that has a couple hiding kits in there. They're under that big pile. So you find yourself wanting baby rabbits. And you don't really know how to get started. This particular video isn't going to be as much about breeding rabbits, but I'm going to give you a couple tips right off the hatch right here, right off the beginning. First, if you're going to breed rabbits, you really need to have the setup for rabbits. Now, some people breed within their house, but if you're breeding kind of in an outdoorsy area, I recommend raising rabbits in cages versus the colony style that you see sometimes. There's many reasons for that, but we're not going to get into that. We're just going to talk about how we breed rabbits. So the way that I like to breed rabbits is getting a particular area that is neutral to both the male and the female. The reason for this is because females can become very territorial and very aggressive. You never want to put the male with the female. You always want to put the female with the male. That's the number one rule. Always put the female with the male. And you think, why? Well, because females are mean. Female rabbits can be very aggressive, very territorial, and they can even castrate your males, kill them, hurt them, severely injure your males, trying to get away from them or to not breed. So I find that if you can find a large area that is contained, that can keep them in it, and you can breed them more of a neutral area, then you can do that. If you do not have a neutral area where you can breed your rabbits, just put your female rabbit in the cage with your male rabbit. While you're breeding your rabbits, you want to make sure that you're being attentive and kind of staying around just in case some accident might happen. The female might hurt the male. That way you can remove them away from each other fairly quickly. The rule is to have at least 3 fall-offs. So when you breed your rabbit, the male is going to do exactly that. He's going to fall off. That means that he has impregnated the female, if you will. You want to see at least 3 of those. How we breed is we breed once and then we breed again. So we can either breed twice in one day. We will breed in the morning and then in the evening, or we will breed in the evening depending on how warm it is outside, and then breed again the next day. I find that if a doe doesn't want to breed again the next day, 9 times out of 10 she is conceived. So after you've bred your does, what's your timeline? The timeline is 30 days. So you always count 30 days from the day that they have been bred, the first day that they have been bred, and that is going to be around about your due date. Now, on my phone, I set a reminder for day 28. Day 28 is a very specific date when you are expecting kits, because usually around that time, anywhere between day 28 and day 32-ish, 31, depending on who you talk to, they're going to have their kits. They can have them on day 28. They can have them on day 32. So you want to put the nest box in around day 28. Now let's talk about nest boxes for a second. All right, guys, these are my nest boxes. I have an entire video, and I'll try to put it right here and link it in the description below of what I use. But these are wash tubs you can get at the grocery store, the dollar store. I think I paid $2 for this. We've been using them for probably going on 5 years. They work perfectly. They're just deep enough. I drilled holes in the bottom of them. They work great. They're great for mamas getting out of, and you don't have any issues with babies getting out of them or flying out of them. They're plenty deep enough so that you can have babies in the colder months, and mama can dig a good deep nesting box for them. Here's what you need to know about nesting boxes. They need to be topless. Now, there is nesting boxes that are on the market where you'll see where it's like a half top. That's fine, but they have to be topless. That way the doe can get in and feed her babies. Let's talk about feeding babies for a second, though, because I know there's a lot of questions out there about mamas feeding babies. But make sure your nesting boxes are a decent size and that they have no top on them. That way mama can get in and feed. Okay, so I said we were going to talk about them feeding their babies for a second. I see this question a lot on Facebook where people will ask, hey, is my mama feeding her babies? I don't know if she's feeding her babies. I haven't seen her do it. Well, chances are you're not going to see the mom feeding babies. I've been raising rabbits for many years now, and I can probably count, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 times I've actually seen a mama feeding her newborn babies just voluntarily. I've never hardly ever walked in and seen a mama feeding her babies. They're just a lot different. They only feed twice a day. They'll feed in the morning and the afternoon. So how can you tell whether mama's feeding her babies? The way that I tell is I pick up each kit every single day. I flip them over and I check their bellies. If mama's feeding, you're going to see round, fat bellies. Even sometimes when they're newborns, depending on what color they are, you can even see the milk in their stomach. It's really neat looking, but that's the way you tell whether they've been feeding or not. You want to check them maybe once a day, twice a day if you got the time, but pull each and every single baby out and check them. And I'm going to go ahead and debunk the myth right now. If you check the babies, feel the babies, pull them out, mama is not going to reject the babies. That is a myth. It doesn't happen. So if you're going to, so you want to make sure that you're checking those babies every single day to make sure that mama's feeding, even more so for issues, especially with a first-time mom, that you might have some losses. You want to pull them babies that have passed away out of the nest box, but check those babies every day. Make sure everybody's staying warm and everybody's staying fed. I'm going to hop on the nest box topic just for a second, and I don't think I covered exactly what you put in the nest box. There's different materials that you can put in. Do not use shavings, cedar shavings, anything like that. You don't want to use shavings. You either want to use straw or hay. We use hay here just because I don't typically have as much straw on hand as I have hay on hand. So I throw a little bit of hay in there. If you have a particular doe that is eating all the hay out of the nest box, though, you might want to switch to straw. I have a doe that loves eating all the hay out, and she takes the hay from her babies. But the hay in the nest keeps the babies warm along with mama's fur. Now, something you'll notice when a doe is getting ready to have babies is she's going to be laying a lot. She's going to be tired. She's not going to be maybe as happy as she usually is. She's going to be laying like these does are around here. This doe is pregnant. That doe is pregnant. This doe is just laying. You can barely see her, but she's pregnant as well. They've been laying an awful lot. It's because they're pregnant. And normally towards the end of their pregnancy, they get a little bit more sleepy. You can continue to feed them exactly what you've been feeding them, though, while they're pregnant. The only time you want to up their feeding is after the kits are born. So typically after the kits are born, I will give my does either a full cup of feed or a cup and a half of feed, depending on what doe it is, how many kits she has, how many kits she'll be feeding, and what her usual eating is. If she only eats a half a cup a day, then I bring it up to a cup a day. If she eats a cup a day, then I bring it up to a cup and a half, depending on the doe. You also want to provide free choice hay for the doe and the kits. And keep the hay in the nesting box. Keep hay in the nesting box, because once your kits get to a certain age, they're going to start eating that hay and feeding on that hay a lot more. This particular doe here is Boise. She's asleep right now, so I'm going to try to do this without waking her up. And she has kits in there. As you can see in the nesting box, I have some fresh hay in there. I also have hay on the side, and she has her grain here. You also want to make sure that you're keeping plenty of water. But like I said, you want to keep that nest filled up with hay. You want to keep their feed bowl with a little bit extra feed when they're lactating, and of course some extra hay. You give a doe a nest box. Usually if they're close to having babies, they're going to start working in their nest box. Typically what I do is I fill the nest box all the way up with hay and then lay some hay on the side. They're going to make their nest to their specifications, and that includes pulling fur. If you see a doe pulling fur, she's making a nest box. I have some does that work on it slow down through time. I have other does that like making their nest all in one day and then having the baby either the same day or a couple days later. So every doe is a little bit different, but just give them some hay and fill that nest box full of hay, and they know what to do most of the time. Hold up, wait a minute. What do I mean most of the time? Well, if you have a first time doe, a lot of times they just don't know what's going on. They've never had the experience before, and I always say to keep your expectations low when you have a first time doe, because a lot of times they just don't have the experience. So you can think of it as a 50-50 chance that mama might be a good mama, or a 50-50 chance that she might not. It just depends on the doe. Now, sometimes does just don't pull enough fur or don't pull fur. You usually see this a lot of times with first time does. They just don't pull enough, or they don't pull any fur at all. A substitute that you can use for that, and a lot of people use it, is cotton balls. You can pull some cotton balls apart and throw them in the nest to keep those kits warm. Now, if you have a doe that's having babies, a lot of times, at least in my experience, does like to have them in the middle of the night, after the sun's gone down. So you can check on your does throughout the night if you'd like, to see if they've had kits, and just make sure that she's doing everything that she needs to help those babies survive. All right, you've given mama her nest box. She's a great mom. She's pulled fur. She's been feeding her babies. What are you to expect after the newborn stage? So after the newborn stage, around 10 to 12 days, you want to make sure that the babies are opening their eyes. Usually when they start opening their eyes, it's my favorite time because their little ears come up. If they're a pointy-eared breed, you'll notice that their ears will come up and their eyes will open at the same time. It's so cute. But you want to make sure that they're doing it within that 10 to 12 range. Now, with many Rexes particularly, I've had to open a lot of babies' eyes down through time, even a couple days in a row. So usually around the 10-day mark, you'll start noticing there's a little crack in their eyes. You just want to make sure by the 12-day mark, especially by the 13-day mark, that their eyes are open. Usually you'll have one or two kits that just need a little bit of help, and the best way that I found is just to take a warm wash rag with some warm water on it, rub it on their eyes, and then you can just pry their eyes open. It doesn't hurt them. And you might have to do that for a couple days. Sometimes they get a little crusties in their eye when they first get open. Just wipe that off with a warm rag, and you'll be good. All right, guys, I feel like I've covered all the topics that I wanted to talk about. If you have absolutely any questions, please leave them down in the comments. I'll try my best to help you. If I can help you, there'll probably be somebody show up in the comments that can help you. If any of my rabbit peeps have anything they want to add, please add that. Just be kind and courteous in the comments. I know everybody does everything a little bit different, or most things a little bit different. This is just my way of doing it. This is just my expertise, as you will, or my soapbox moment. But I've got this channel to educate, and that's what I want to do. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope that I answered some of your questions. And like I said, if you have any, please leave them down in the comment section below, and I will do my best to help. Don't forget to check the description for the links that I'm going to put in for some of the subjects that I've covered today. But I appreciate y'all watching. I appreciate y'all hanging out, and hopefully we can see you on the next one. We'll see you later, guys. Bye.